The blanket. The first time my mother goes to New York City, it is only for a long weekend visit. Her kiss on our cheeks, as much as a promise as the excitement in her eyes. I'll bring something back for each of you. It's Friday night and the weekend ahead is already calling us to the candy lady's house. My hand in Daddy's. He doesn't know how to say no, my grandmother complains, but neither does she. Dresses and socks and ribbons, our hair pressed and curled, she called my sister and her baby girls, smiles proudly when the women say how pretty we are. The first time my mother goes to New York City, we don't know to be sad, the weight of our grandparents' love like a blanket, with us beneath it, safe and warm. Miss Bell and the Marchers. They look like regular people visiting our neighbor Miss Bell, foil-covered dishes held out in front of them as they arrive, some in pairs, some alone, some just little kids holding their mothers' hands. If you don't know, you'd think it was just an evening gathering. Maybe church people heading into Miss Bell's house to talk about God. But when Miss Bell pulls her blinds closed, the people fill their dinner plates with food, their glasses with sweet tea, and gather to talk about marching. And even though Miss Bell works for a white lady who said I will fire you in a minute if I ever see you on that line, Miss Bell knows that marching isn't the only thing she can do. Knows that people fighting need full bellies to think and safe places to gather. She knows the white lady isn't the only one who's watching, listening, waiting to end this fight. So she keeps the marchers' glasses filled and more cornbread and potato salad to their plates stand in the kitchen ready to slice. Lemon pound cake into generous pieces, and in the morning, just before she pulls her uniform from the closet, she prays, God, please give me and those people marching another day. Amen. How to listen number 2. In the stores downtown, we are always followed around just because we are brown. Hair night. Saturday night smells of biscuits and burning hair. Supper done, and my grandmother has transformed the kitchen into a beauty shop, laid across the table in the hot comb, Dixie peach hair grease, horsehair brush, parting stick, and one girl at a time. Jackie first, my sister says. Our freshly washed hair damp and spiraling over toweled shoulders and pale cotton nightgowns. She opens her book to the marked page, curls up in a chair, pulled close to the wood-burning stove, bowl of peanuts in her lap. The words in her books are so small I had to squint to see the letters. Hans Brinker or the Silver Skates, The House of Pooh Corner, Swiss Family Robinson, thick books. Dog-eared from the handing down from neighbor to neighbor, my sister handles them gently, marks the pages with torn brown pieces of paper bag, wipes her hands before going beyond the hardbound covers. Read to me, I say, my eyes and scalp already stinging from the tug of a brush through my hair. And while my grandmother sets the comb on the flame, heats it just enough to pull my tight curls straighter, my sister's voice wafts over the kitchen. Past the smell of hair oil and flame settles like a hand on my shoulder and holds me there. I want silver skates, like Hans, a place on a desert island. I have never seen the ocean, but this too. I can imagine blue water pouring over a red dirt. As my sister reads, the pictures begin forming, as though someone has turned on a television, lowered the sound, pulled it up close. Grainy black and white pictures come slowly at me, deep, infinite, remembered. On a bright December morning, long ago, my sister's clear, soft voice opens up the world to me. I lean in, so hungry for it. Hold still now, my grandmother warns. So I sit on my hands to keep my mind off my hurting head and a whole body still. But the rest of me is already leaving, the rest of me is already gone. Family names. There's James, Joseph, Andrew, Geneva, Annie Mae, William, Lucinda, David, Talmadge. My grandmother says, altogether my mama gave birth to 13 children. Our heads spin at the thought of how many brothers and sisters. 3 died as babies, she says, but only a little of the spinning stops. There's Lavinia, Montag, Ilis, Halik, Valley Mae, Verdi, and Elora on my daddy's side. We can't help but laugh each time our daddy tells us the names of his brothers and sisters. His own name, Gunner, sends us laughing all over again. Gave their kids names that no master could ever take away. What about Bob or Joe? Hope wants to know. What about John or Michael or something real normal like Hope? Hope is not normal, my sister says. Not for a boy. I think your name is a mistake. Maybe they meant to say Verdi. Maybe they meant to name you Verdi. I'm the great hope of the family, my brother says. Just like Grandpa Hope, just like Hope and Dope, my sister says back. Keep up the argument, my grandfather says. I'll take you both down to the city hall. People be happy to call you Talmadge and Valley Mae. American Dream. Even when my girls were little, we go down there, my grandmother tells us, and people be marching. And people be marching. The marching didn't just start yesterday. Police with those dogs scared everybody near to death. Just once, I let my girls march. My grandmother leans back in her brown chair, her feet still in the Epsom salts water, her fingers tapping some silent tune. She closes her eyes. I let them and I prayed. What's the thing, I asked her, that would make people want to live together? People have to want it, that's all. We get quiet. Maybe all of us are thinking about the ones who want it and the ones who don't. We all have the same dream, my grandmother says, to live equal in a country that's supposed to be the land of the free. She lets out a long breath, deep remembering. When your mother was little, she wanted a dog, but I said no. Quick as you blink, I told her, a dog will turn on you. So my mother brought kittens home, soft and purring inside the empty boxes, mewing and mewing until the grandmother fell in love and let her keep them. My grandfather tells us this as we sit at her feet, each story like a photograph. We can look right into see our mother. Their marchers and dogs and kittens are all blending, and us now there is each moment beside her. The fabric store. Some Fridays we walk to downtown Greenville where there are some clothing stores, some restaurants, and motel at the five and dime store, but my grandmothers won't take us into any of those places anymore, even the five and dime, which isn't segregated now, but where a woman is paid, my grandmother says, to follow colored people around in case they try to steal something. We don't go into the restaurants because they always seat us near the kitchen. When we go downtown, we go to the fabric store where the white woman knows my grandmother. From back in Anderson asks, how's Gunnar doing and your girls in New York? She rolls fabric. She rolls fabric out for my grandmother to rub between her fingers. They discuss drape and nap and where to cinch the waist on a skirt for a child. As the fabric store, we are not colored or Negro. We are not thieves or shameful or something to be hidden away. At the fabric store, we are just people. Ghost. In downtown Greenville, they painted over the white-only signs, except on the bathroom doors. They didn't use a lot of paint, so they can still see the words, right there like a ghost standing in front, still keeping you out. The Leavers. We watch men leave Greenville in their one good suit, shoes split-shinned. We watch women leave in Sunday clothes, hatted and lipsticked and white-gloved. We watch them catch buses in the evening, the black shadows of their backs is the last we see of them. Others fill their cars with bags, whole families disappearing into the night, people waving goodbye. They say The city is a place where diamonds speckle the sidewalk. Money falls from the sky. They say a colored person can do well going there. All you need is far out of Greenville. All you need is to know somebody on the other side waiting to cross you over, like the River Jordan, and then you're in paradise.